Oh, so welcome back to Highfields Sports Complex, where we have the mixed open final between the Southwest Saxons in the light blue, dark blue gradient strip in defence against the Southeast Sharks with the blue and light blue reverse gradient. Ben, we're here. We've done a lot of mix so far together. What are we thinking in this game? Can it even live up to what we've just seen?
Yeah, it'll be tough. I mean, I've got no receipts for this, so you're going to have to take my word. But I picked these two on day one for the final.
Yeah.
Very impressed with both of them when I watched them. Very fast teams, very unpredictable teams as well, which we've seen all across the mixed category this year. And if last year's final was anything to go off, which this Sharks team was involved in, it's going to be a corker, Joe.
Indeed. And the Sharks have that bomb pod on with Harry Hardman, who has been making things happen
Love the look of this
all
pod already.
tournament. Harry Hardman carrying, good bit of contact coming in. And was Ruby Gribben involved. There's Frank wearing the number 2. Hardman platforming. Good tracking. Hardman batting the ball on from the pass of Elliot Knight. It's just a little bit static on the setup. And already, Sharks showing their hand. They want to go threaten those outside edges.
Yeah, and they're good for that play, Joe, especially Hardeman in the number 9. The unpredictable tap on, a little switch where you wouldn't think one would come. And it usually comes good more often than not. They've got the skills to make it work.
Yeah, he's got a bit of everything, hasn't he? Oh, that's a bit of a nudge. That's a good bit of contact. Here we go.
That's what you want to see, isn't it?
Can the Saxons look to make something happen? Good footwork. Looking for the switches on the inside. Pops the ball away to the wing. That 6-touch turnover. Both teams going hard.
Yep.
Bit surprised there wasn't a hard touch call in there, but the referee's setting the marker out. This is what we're happy with. It needs to be physical.
I'm happy that didn't get called, personally. I think we should see more of that. It's a physical category, it's a physical game.
It is. Hardman coming onto it like a freight train.
Yeah.
Straightening, giving loads of depth. It is 19, Ed Day. Day working with Franco Perticaro. Here is Perticaro. He's got the long ball rip over to Ed Day, dropping the ball off for the link. And Ed Day and Perticaro starting to kick into gear.
Yeah, that man in the number 20, Perticaro, gave me nightmares when I defended against him. He ran rings around me. Deceptively fast, wicked step. And his passing game's probably one of the best in this whole division this
big
year.
Dummy show and go out to the wing. There's a bit of a foot race happening. There's Annie Russell out there. A little bit of a show and go. As we say, we've not seen this man for Saxons. He was resting when we were playing. Here's Marcus Evans. Will he help steer the Saxons dry? Evans gets dummied. Comes over into the in-goal area. Can they find the spare man? Perticaro chasing, making touches. Franco Perticaro, take your hat off.
Yeah, this pod for the Saxons is absolutely stacked. You've got Marcus Evans in the 10, Tom Hardeman in the 3.
It is unreal for the Saxons. Tom Hardeman going up against Harry Hardman. That's going to be a good battle. Perticaro checking away to Daniela Mendes. Ball goes down. And here we go. Toby Lister rolls the ball. There is Lister. Hardeman. Lister. Evans strolling. Composure. You know, he's got a pill off both hands. Back to Evans. Right foot step. Diving at the line. That's ball down. And Marcus Evans opens the Saxons account with a step that is disgusting.
Yeah, you're so scared of his passing game, Marcus Evans. He can throw right to left. He can throw left to right. And he can also dive in between you, as you've just seen. Such a complete game.
He is. And now he's showing just what he brings to a team in the mixed final. Oh, that's loss of control.
Uncharacteristic.
There's a logistical error. Both players going for half. I think it was Stephen Frank going in.
Especially on day 3, that's so uncharacteristic of the Sharks. After they've played together in this pod for 3 days now.
Yeah, it is scary. There's Corey Williams carrying, getting down for Reece Lynch. Lynch in at half. Checking away. Danger, 2-on-1. Can they finish? Yes, they can. That is stunning.
Really nice.
However, loss of control. Ball wasn't grounded. Over to you, Southeast Sharks.
Both teams really looking to collapse on that play. When the attacking side shows their hand, both wingers are really looking to shut hard which you like to see, and it forces the error on that occasion. You'd rather that than they dive at your feet and score.
Hardman checking away. Here is Ed Day and Perticaro. This is danger. This is the pod for me that just has so much Ed Day, but it's a wonderful read from the link. I wonder if they'll start flying on that transition to get around the outside of the Saxons press.
I mean, you're the coach, Joe. Yeah, it's an incredible read. The link needs to shot really hard because they're looking to tip around the middles.
Oh, see you later. There's a couple dummies coming in from Annie Russell. There is the fly. There's the pace. Is it ball down? It is indeed, and the Saxons get another one. It is now 2 tries to the good for the Southwest Saxons, and my word, that is just raw pace from Ryan Atwood.
I mean, you've got to wake up pretty early to get around Ed Day like that so easily, and they've woken up on the crack of dawn.
It is rapid, and I've got to apologise, it's not Ryan Atwood, it's Max O'Brien. 15 and 16, the 5 and 6s have already done me a little bit today in the Women's Open. It does strikes again as we see Marcus Arman now with the Sharks trying to get over. Arman, big touch coming in from Marcus Evans. There's the wrap, long ball is on. Yeah. It goes. It's unfortunately a little bit too high for Emma Barrow. However, might be getting the penalty.
Yeah, that play is on, Joe, and the wind has picked up here on day 3. So maybe teams are looking to defend a bit narrower, and you saw the wind come a long way in there, and the pass right to left was on.
Yeah, and this does not surprise me, that the Sharks, with a little bit of game management, are asking the question, where do I take the tap from, sir? Yeah. Just so we can get the fresh legs on to give them a brand new set. There's the splitter. Ooh. Is that ball down? Good touch.
Good play on play 1, though.
Really good play. And this pod of Frank, Nye, and Hardman. Hardman wearing 9. He's the long ball specialist. Hardman platforming on this occasion. Nye trying to beat Marcus Evans to the line. Probably would have if he dove.
Yeah. Needs to look open as well there.
Yeah, you can see that 5 so tight.
They're really looking to collapse.
Hardman, that is a flat bomb. However, it's a wonderful covering touch from Katrina Cotty. We had John Cotty for the Southwest Saxons in the men's 50s final. So family finals. Evans platforms well. Oh, a little bit static, getting trapped. Lister wants the ball. Evans says, no, I'm just going to drop a nasty pill off to the wing and cut out the midfield press.
Just when you think they're in a jam and Marcus Evans just throws a 30-metre pass to his winger, who catches it
it's
on
nobody's
the run.
business. And here comes the pace, looking to fly again. It was the read. Ball goes to ground. Ben, this game started fast. We know that the Sharks can problem solve really well. They might need to rely on that in this final.
Yeah, and we're going to see which team's fitness lasts out here on day 3. This is what, the 8th game of the weekend now?
Indeed.
And they've come out at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
They have. Is Lynch bouncing around, dropping a lovely ball off, but a wonderful shot coming in from Ruby Gribben.
Really great touch.
And Lynch with a load of pedigree, working with Rhys Jones.
Wales pod.
It's R&R. It is the Wales pod. I hope my voice doesn't remind them of that mixed open game. Lynch.
Really great shot from Elliot Nye. They've called him off.
Early shot, early release.
He did get really high. He did get really high on that play.
It is. We've got Corey Williams, Rhys Jones, Rhys Lynch. There's Williams. Lynch wrapping round, stepping away from one.
Yeah, he's done well.
Oh, Nye, really that's the read. Oh, although
I think they've called him off again.
There's a bit of clear dialogue coming from the on-field ref. And that is the 3. So, Elliot Nye goes for the rest of the possession. Can Williams, Lynch and Jones make this happen? There is Lynch platforming, feeding away. Oh, Harry Hardman gets stepped in a phone booth. Smoked him on the line.
Welcome to the highlight reel.
And the Saxons get their 3rd. And at the moment, the Saxons are raiding that try line all too frequently.
I thought he went the wrong way, Joe. I thought he went the wrong way. I thought he should have gone open, but...
It's just a huge right foot step in the end from Reece Jones, showing his pedigree, getting over. And now, the Sharks with a bit of problem solving to do. Things aren't going their way. Not finding success in line attack. Not finding the success in line defence. Southwest Saxons have got your number. Perticaro, Ed Day. Ooh, really good swiping touch. Ed Day needs to find a platform for Perticaro. The options are long. Ed Day checking around. It's a wonderful touch getting off the line from Will Lewis. And that is turnover. And Ben, just how good have the Saxons been in defence?
Yeah, incredible. And that's going to win the game. It's the old adage, isn't it? Defence wins championships. And if Saxons win this championship today, put it down to defence.
It is, and that's a foot in the ruck. Franco Perticaro.
They got great separation on that play for the middle to get underneath and make that touch when his other middle looked cooked, to be honest.
Yeah, completely agree. And we've seen from the South East Sharks, especially in this mixed team, we've seen them be down at half-time on a few occasions and come back and get the win. However, you're only down by a couple. This is 3, not even halfway through the first half. It's ominous reading. How do they stop the stem of flow going against them?
It needs a momentum shifter. It needs a big play from the Sharks to turn this game around. I don't think anyone saw this coming. Both teams in quite unfamiliar territory here.
There's Hardiman stepping away from Franco Perticaro. Hardiman accelerating well, working with Lister on his outside. Oh, it's ball down and loss of control for Tom Hardiman. And there's the recipe for success for the Sharks. Put the pressure on, up the line speed, but they're playing with fire. Ed Day trying to get around the outside edge. Does oh so well to get that ball down stable. Marcus Evans gets up, making touches. Little bit easy at the moment for the Saxons in defence. Evans called off. Needs to take the ball, take his feet back. There's Marcus Arman. Arman, what can he do in line attack? Little step, drops the ball off, diving at the line, but once again, it's a wonderful intervention from Annie Ainscough. And the Saxons in the ascendancy, but Sharks, much better transition.
Yeah, I think one more pass was definitely the play there, but such a good shot. She does that so well.
She does, and we've seen her do it for club, country, university. You want to pick it, she's done it. Annie Ainscough growing into a wonderful player. However, here are the Reeses. There's the R&R, but there's no rest and relaxation for the Sharks. Checking over to the open side, ball goes down. And it is still 3 tries to nothing for the Saxons. Options to check away. Frank straightens. In fact, that wasn't Frank, that was Rory Botts. Oh, Marcus Arman just has to take that ball back. And this midfield defence is superb from the Saxons, epitomised by the halfway turnover.
They earned that. The Saxons earned that. It was a bit of a clunky sub-off from Sharks, but that came from Saxons being really aggressive, getting in their face.
And it was a wonderful release off the line from the Saxons on numerous occasions. Now, here's Lynch. Getting around the outside of Jones. That's a big release, but those are big hands, and that's a big score, and that is nasty. And there is no rest for the South East Sharks because the Saxons are starting to pitch a tent in that end goal area. It is 4 tries to nothing.
And that's how you beat that over-eager link. They've clearly identified that in the box. They've seen them coming up, wanting to make that touch on the middle, sweeping round. And all it is just tip round them. And the winger's way too far to get up and make the touch on the link before they can pass off.
Yeah, Perticaro now with Ed Day and the like. Lockie Hill. Double bite at the cherry. Ooh. That is a 4. That's a hard touch.
That's a tough call.
Initiated by the Sharks. That is a tough call. Do you know what else is tough? 4 try deficits.
Yeah.
So the Sharks need to get on the... need to start winning the battle of the penalty count and finding success in line attack. As we see, good midfield press from the Sharks. Good carries once more. However, that pass from Will Lewis, always fading forward. The inaccuracies surrender possession.
Sharks just can't panic here. They're in this game.
There is Perticaro. Great platform indeed. There's Rory Bott. Marcus Arman flooding on open side. Bott to Arman. Arman in a bit of a foot race. Arman hits the wing.
Yeah.
And is that ball down?
That's the play.
It is indeed. And the Sharks do get on the scoreboard. And that's the play indeed. You run the fly, open side, 4-1 Sharks.
And it's just the double pump. It's the moment's hesitation while he's making up the ground to get to the line. It just makes the defenders think. They're not chasing out at full speed like they would be if you release the pass early. They're watching you for the dive. They're watching you until it's too late.
Yeah, and the South East Sharks do get scores on the board in this first half with around 6 minutes left to go, less than 6 minutes to go. Saxons still 4 tries to the good. And it is this pod that's causing all the damage. There is Jones. Jones trying to take Bott on the outside. Nothing doing. Bott does well. Jones. Lynch. Williams. Lynch picking up. Switches might be the cause of day.
Yeah.
It is indeed. And that is ball down. And it is nasty from Lynch and Corey Williams. They say, OK, we see your try. We will raise you another scorcher.
I mean, that's just touch rugby. That is just touch rugby. The best you'll see it in this mixed category. Just making the defence work side to side, and there's always going to be a hole somewhere.
And it is wonderful. That'll be ball down as well, and it might be a little bit unfortunate for Ruby Gribben. Looked like there was a knee involved in the touch. However, the referees are happy. That's a really good check away to number 8, Jess Clark from the Bristol Jets team. There's Annie Ainscough. Good bit of footwork to get around Hardman. There's Marcus Evans with Hardyman. Ooh.
Not sure about that.
This will be tap penalty and no hand signal, so we can only assume off the mark, but that feels a bit harsh. Hardman, ooh, that's a dodgy pass getting round the corner. Nye receives it well. There is Hardman. Good platform. This is better. Ed Day with Lockie Hill in at half. Lockie Hill scooping. Perticaro option. Might come back over to the short side. Lockie Hill, that'll be 6 more. And that is what the Sharks can do when they find their footing.
Looked like the same play was on again, Joe. Just the fly and then the long ball to the wing. And we know Franco has that pass.
Yeah, Franco comes over to the short side with a loss of footing for Lockie Hill.
Again, it was on.
Yeah. I wonder if that will start to be executed on maybe 4th touch here. Because Franco is trying to create the space. Could be step back options, could just be flat. That is horrible. Franco Perticaro, eat that one out. That is nasty. Flat to the line, what can you do? Left hand rip, 30 yards. Disgusting.
Had some sauce on it, that one. Had some heat on it.
And that is now 5-2 to the South East Sharks. And it was a really good finish as well. And I believe, well, the Saxons trying to get that turn. Corey Williams hits the phase. It's danger. Diving at the line, but it's a wonderful touch getting off the line. And it was number 14, Hannah Jaferas, getting over for the score. Apologies if I'm butchering your second name.
Ooh.
And now the Sharks need to set the tone. Not a lot of time left in this first half, around 2 minutes. 3 try deficit is not insurmountable, but it does give you a lot to do coming into the second. Hardman carrying now in at half. Hardman fizzing. Nye checking away.
Great
that
touch.
Ball is released after the touch, as you say, Ben.
Great touch.
And the wings from the Southwest Saxons getting through a lot of work defensively.
Yeah. It's just make the attack, make the hardest play. And the hardest play there was for Hardiman to pick up and rip it 4-on-3 straight to the winger. So if you can collapse on the link, which is the easier pass, and make that read, you kill the whole attack.
Indeed. As we see, a pretty hard touch coming in on Will Lewis, but Will Lewis won't mind. Ryan Atwood wearing 16. Max O'Brien wearing 15. Here is O'Brien. Atwood in at link. Looks to hit Atwood, but Harry Hardman bats that ball down. But not given. So the Sharks may be fortunate to get away with one. There's a bit of a heavy contact. That'll be loss of control.
Yeah.
And the Sharks need to find their composure because that's a couple times they've surrendered the ball needlessly in the contact.
And they look good on line attack. They just can't get there.
Yeah. There is O'Brien checking away.
Really great touch from the Saxons link.
Getting up, making touch. There's O'Brien and Atwood. Atwood. Dummy. O'Brien comes over to Will Lewis. Can Will Lewis do something with the feet? Not a lot. There's a really good line speed from Harry Hardman. No touch made though. Resetting. Now they hit the link. Could just sweep around the link if they want to. Not a lot. Dummies. Comes over. That ball's just hit the face of Elliot Nye, and that will be turnover.
That was the right play. He could have gone through. Nye had turned his back.
Hardman sets the tone. There's a good bit of contact, and at the moment the Sharks just need to find their momentum. That's a better platform coming from Nye. Hardman carrying up the box side. That brings us to half-time, where the Southwest Saxons take a 5-2 lead over the Southeast Sharks. Ben, we'll slow the pace down a touch because this mixed final has been fast and frenetic, and I feel like I've just had verbal diarrhea for 20 minutes. However, Saxons, we know what's working. They're playing expansive. They're hitting holes. They've got a lot of pace coming into touches 4 and 5. I think you hit the nail on the head where the Sharks look great on line attack but don't get there often enough. What's the read?
The read for them is just be more aggressive. Go from A to B much quicker. I think at a trail line, even on that sub-off, they're really direct when they sub off, but Saxons are sending one shooter. If they can pick off that shooter with a tip, easier said than done. More momentum into the drive, and then, as we say, on line attack, they look good.
Indeed, and we're going to take a very quick break for just a couple minutes. And we will be right back with the second half, and we'll see if the Southeast Sharks can pick up the trend of being able to problem solve on the fly and overcome 3 try deficits. They're no stranger to comebacks, but they need an almighty one in this mixed open final. So welcome back. And the second half is around 90 seconds away in this mixed open final. And Ben, we know that the Southeast Sharks have the ability to overcome a 3-try deficit. However, this Southwest Saxons team probably looks the most potent we've seen up until this point. What do you think the changes and tweaks that will be made for the Sharks are, and is it just more of the same?
I don't think too much needs to be changed. I think they're panicking. I think the word I'd use to describe this Saxons team is they're really composed. They're really aggressive in their defence, but when they attack, they're really composed. They know they're going to get the score. It's just about how they work it, and they've got a few variations on a few different plays. So they don't panic if something doesn't work. And I think, conversely, there's been 1 or 2 occasions where I described the Sharks as panicking.
Yeah, I think that's fair as well, because the Sharks, they when they get to the line, they look electric, but they're not getting to the line enough.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
You've got the likes of Franco Perticaro, you've got Ed Day, you've got some brilliant strike players who can, and, I'm forgetting Marcus Harmon as well, brilliant strike players who can make something happen. It's just not clicking, and you're not putting the pressure on often enough for there to be a real threat to the Saxons consistently. Yeah. Whereas you look at the Saxons, they get to the line efficiently, they put long balls in, they make you pay.
Yeah. Saxons just look really annoying to play against. They look really frustrating to play against because they're really aggressive in defence and they're forcing a lot of errors in midfield.
And those errors are causing them a lot of issues. The Saxons, this is the pod to watch out for. Marcus Evans wearing number 10. Lister wearing 33. And number 3, Tom Hardiman. Brilliant. Working with Annie Ainscough. There is Hardiman outside to Lister. Lister Brilliant. Checks away. That's the opening score of the half. Brilliant. And that is absolutely stunning. Katrina Cotti doubles her personal tally. And the Southwest Saxons take that lead back out to 4.
And just watch this plough from Ainscough, I think it is. We shouted her out a few times, but this plough from Ainscough to set up this play, it's exactly what you want from your female link. Head down, gets all the way to the 7 on touch 3.
It is a wonderful platform, and the likes of Hardiman and Lister do the damage. Elliot Nye has to come back and take this touch. South East Sharks need to stop the flow of tries going against them. Hardman.
Need composure here.
That's a nice splitter. Nye looks for the wing, but it's a brilliant shot from Katrina Cotti.
They've been doing that all game. They need the wing pass if they have it.
Hardman, he definitely does. Looks for the link again,
it's
but once more, the wing is available. This time it was Ruby Gribben trying to get through. They'll look to run the exact same play. Wing
now
ball.
It's on.
Oh, there it is. There's the catching ground. There's the finish. You called it, Ben. It's Hannah Shafaras. However, it'll be given forward.
That's unlucky.
It is unlucky. And it's a shame, because that's the recipe for the Sharks, with the likes of Hardman and Perticaro throwing long. But that is a lovely meters made off first touch, just bouncing round. And that's the thing, there's no midfield press at the moment from the South East Sharks. No. It's just a little bit flat in all for the performance. And then you've got the likes of Will Lewis carrying well. Lewis coming back over to the short side, doing Harry Hardman. Smoking him.
Wow.
There's the ball back on the inside. And the Saxons are tearing the Sharks to ribbons.
The ref's just moving the whole cohort of supporters 5 metres back away from the
ref decides that's not safe. Off you go.
But what a score we've just seen, Joe. Back to the touch. That is incredible. And you called it, mate. They just got picked off in midfield. And then once you're rolling backwards, the attack can just do anything they want with you.
Yeah, and it's just too flat in the midfield defence from the South East Sharks. And you do that against a team with so much pressure and so much pace, they will go and execute. And it is as simple, in that instance, it was just Max O'Brien platforming for Ryan Atwood, going back to Max O'Brien, and there's try time. And it's 7-2 now, 5 tries the difference. Ed Day and Franco Perticaro have a lot of work to do. There is Ed Day. Oh, that has to be good.
I don't know what he's calling it.
Well, there's no hand signal, so I've not got a clue what he's calling either. And there's Marcus Evans taking a little bit of a tumble.
We'll trust there was an infringement there, but the dive and the step.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with it. It could have been maybe given forward off the base of the ruck, but that is asking a lot. And Sharks get the turnover.
Have to score here.
So maybe a little bit of justice done, having a score chalked off that just shouldn't have been. In my opinion, there's Ed Day. Perticaro, back to Ed Day. Can he use the footwork, get over? He does on that occasion, and they won't stop him a second time. Lynch gets up and makes the touch. However, Ed Day with the footwork, stepping him inside and out. And they'll need more of that as they bring the deficit down to 4.
Yeah, smart from Day. Because he went short side the first time when he killed them, and then that time just went 33 in between them.
Yeah, Perticaro trying to up the volume. There's a huge dummy that's just come in from Ryan Atwood, and this is a dangerous pod to try and defend. Good platform opportunities, really good decision, and a huge dummy brought in, good ball away. Wonderful work from Jess Clark involved in the line attack. Atwood platforming well. O'Brien putting the hammer down, trying to beat his opposite man. Does beat his opposite man, but the touch has been called, and O'Brien will have to come back. O'Brien feeding over to Atwood. O'Brien stepping, playing. There's a good bit of pace, pushes Marcus Arman away, throws the ball to the wing, but there's nothing doing, and then there's the 6-touch turnover. So Sharks, on that occasion, defend the Saxons.
Yeah, that's been on a few times, to be fair, where the far mids come up to make a heavy touch. He's competed, is what he's done. He's not gone for a flick touch.
Oh, Arman looking to condition that wing, to be honest, but don't make a lot of meters. So this is second. Third coming. Arman.
Pass. Going
from wing to wing. Good hands as well from Hannah Shafaras. That's good evasion as well.
That's what they need.
From Kieran James.
Roll into it.
As Frank platforming well. Hardman
Lovely.
Checking around. Elliot Nye. 2-on-1. They cannot execute. There's not the level of completion that's needed. Hardman with a bit of chat.
That play's been on. The link's in no man's land there. Fly didn't need to come up that far, and it's happened a few times.
Yeah, they're just not picking off the fly, are they?
Yeah, Hardman made the read. It was just accuracy.
Yeah, Harry Hardman puts his hand up. Good bit of honesty. Penalty ball. Saxons steal some extra meters as well. There's Ainscough checking away to Evans. This is the danger pod. Well, I've said that about all three of them. Marcus Evans working with Hardiman. Evans. Hardiman. Lister at 33 in at link. Evans, Hardiman, what a platform. Hardiman says, see you later. Goes to Mia Ainscough. Annie Ainscough, apologies. Mia's in the Women's Open. Annie Ainscough is currently tearing up the Mixed Open final. There's another score.
I mean, that whole sequence. The swipe touch from Marcus Evans to get around his middle. He probably would have scored if it got fed. And then it was a lovely pick-up, lovely pass from Hardiman. And a wonderful finish from Ainscough.
It is ominous reading here. The Sharks are a bit fresh out of luck. That is wonderful hands from Ed Day. That is an unsympathetic pass from Perticaro, making Ed Day work for his success. That's really good platform from Perticaro, stepping back against the grain. Half is slow, ball is slow. Now they need to up the speed. There is Perticaro going flat, looking for the link. However, they will get the dropping early penalty.
I mean, we saw this game in the groups on this pitch, didn't we, Joe?
Yep.
And it was one of the tightest affairs in the whole division. It was 1-1 by Saxons, and this could get ugly.
That is 6 more. And it's Lockie Hill who's trying to get that ball away to the far side wing. Perticaro. Day. Perticaro. Checking up. Lovely. That's wonderful from Perticaro. And that is try time. They won't chalk that one off. And Perticaro has his hand in a couple. That is now 8-4. And we know that the Sharks can get over on that far side. And I'm just trying to see the number of that far side winger. I can't quite, unfortunately. So I'm not able to give her flowers. But the recipe of the day is stop the Saxons. How can you defend the Saxons? You need to stop the flow of tries going against you. Atwood. Coming back over to Atwood. Really good release from Kieran James. Atwood. Nope. Ball is killed in the corner. Just surrendered. And now the Sharks, with Marcus Arman, looking to go round, and there is 6 more. However, there's meters to be made. Armin, that's much better. Daniela Mendes carrying well. Kieran James with Rory Bott checking around to Armin. Could go once more. Really good shooting out of the line from Katrina Cotti. How many times have I said that this game? Cotti affecting the game on both sides. There's Frank with Hardman in at half. That's 5th. Hardman, footwork, bouncing. Nye trying to get round the outside edge. Goes through a couple touches, but it's a really good defensive spacing from Saxons on the far side.
Yeah, they did really well there because they love to bite from wing, Saxons, but it wasn't the play there. The play was to do what exactly they did. Just back away, buy time, and Nye just ran out of space. Yeah,
that was Annie Ainscough carrying well. Oh, this spells danger. This spells danger. There's the gas. He'll go all of the way. Will Tom Hardiman. And it is just pure athleticism carving through the Sharks' defence. A few coming back out. Perticaro, that's a faster roll ball. That's better. That's ball down. That is what the Sharks are able to do when it clicks well. And Georgia Bell says, come on, let's go. There's a game to be had here. Back down to 4.
And he's just on a little LeBron James celebration as he runs off. Not sure about that one with the scoreline as it is, but great score.
Yeah, Perticaro and Ed Day are a wonderful combination.
Yeah.
And the supporting cast complement them oh so well. But as I say, it's not about how many you can score. It's about stopping these Saxons. Ooh, that is a collector's item from Jess Clark. She's been stunning in this game, and then is called offside, so a couple errors. That's a loss of control at the roll ball. So now the Saxons go quickly with Atwood checking over to O'Brien. Lewis trying to join the fray, but O'Brien steps Armin, buys some extra time, and here comes the big Dons. Annie Ainscough carrying, buying the penalty.
Great platform again, Joe.
Mate, Annie Ainscough. I mean, and we know Annie. Like, we're trying not to say, but we know Annie coming from Northwest. She's a superb player. Hardiman playing away to Lister. Lister back into Evans. Evans takes the settler. Here is Hardiman. Evans. Bad news. Evans wanted the phase. Hardiman says, relax. But it's not a time to relax because there's a forward pass given. And now Armin with an opportunity to set the tone in the transition. And that's a wonderful platform from Rory Bott. And coming on now for the Sharks, that's Gribben, but that is a bit of a sloppy roll ball.
Yeah, I don't think it was his knee, actually. I think a couple players mentioned this to me when they played against Tom Hardiman. He's very good at just making the touch on your arm as you're putting the ball down. I think that's what that was. I think that's what he was calling for as he came off the pitch. The Sharks
some dark arts. Speaking of Hardiman, there he is in 3, looking to get round the middle. Evans picking up, going against the grain. Long ball central. It does go. It's a little bit floaty. And it's a really good tracking over and cover from Hannah Jafaras. Evans. Hardiman. Coming over to Ainscough. Ainscough transfers to the wing. Ball down, turnover. Not a lot of time remaining in this game.
Yeah, Saxons will be happy just to play the game in this part of the pitch, just because they are so good at defending the Sharks sub-off as well.
Indeed, Hardman. That's a really good ball. Out to Gribben. Hardman carrying well. Jafaras in acting half. There's good. Bell carrying so well. Day. This pod needs to start making things happen whenever they hit the field. Perticaro. Day. Perticaro in at half. Long ball is on. Steps around a few. Pops the ball to Georgia Bell. The hole was on the wing. And the Saxons. Ooh, that's Saxon on Saxon crime. There's nothing going on with that.
The touch hasn't been made yet.
No. There's no touches. I think Franco recognises that and is like,
yeah, someone needs to touch him.
Someone actually needs to touch him. Crossing.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Crossing call.
Yeah.
Georgia Bell.
That's the right call in the end. It was
tracking a call out the refs. Perticaro loses his footing. You see the sand fly up. Ed Day. Perticaro. Ooh. Really good shot on the line from Jess Clark.
So narrow, the Saxons.
Day, Perticaro, checking, long ball goes, it's just 2 feet short of the far winger. And unfortunately, I believe that was Emily Thompson out there. That leaves a lot to be desired, and there's a bit of a heavy contact. Perticaro involved. Ed Day getting up, making interventions, and forcing the turnover. There's a bit of a chat going on saying that you've touched the ball. No, they haven't.
Much better from the Sharks, Joe, on that sub-off. Much better.
It is much better, but the Sharks are going to need to start to get a wriggle on. 4 tries the deficit. 5 minutes left to go in this second half. Hardman.
It's a physical game of touch.
It is, and Hardman has to check away and surrender a lot of field position.
You go back to the touch by Elliot Nye in the first few seconds, really set the tone.
It did. Hardman, flat to the line. Oh, yes! Hardman's done it again, but they're going to call his second one off for forward, and Hardman is down, clutching the ankle and hurt. It was Hannah Jaferas that could have gone over, but Hardman looks to be in some real discomfort.
Tough call.
Not quite sure what happened. Oh, I think there's just a clash after the ball goes. And I think it is a tough call to give that forward. However, Atwood needs to get on with his job, and does, working with O'Brien. O'Brien loses the hat and is now behind the plate. Will Lewis, though, makes up for it by making extra meters. Is carrying on. Is Cotty wearing 9. There's Lynch. Jones. Kieran James makes both. And the Sharks defending the sets well.
And you see what happens when the Sharks aren't rolling. They are good defensively.
Yeah. They've just not had any opportunity to show that, because for the first, and I don't just want to be negative, but for the first 25, 30 minutes, there was no line speed coming from the Sharks.
No.
And that's what's led them to have a 4-try deficit. As you see, Ed Day platforming, Rory Bott going over. There's Marcus Arman looking for the inside pass, goes to the wing instead. It's just a little bit too tall of an order. They will get the repeat set, though. Offside penalty. Day working with Arman on this occasion. Day stepping, hitting the line. The referee seems like he wants to have a quick chat. It's Jones and Lynch.
He thinks he scored.
Oh, great touch. Great touch coming on to stop that ball squirting loose. I think you're the team manager. Well, I'll take a bow. Oh, he's the coach. Thank you, Eric Cherney. Oh, ball should have gone. Is the touch made? It is. Rory Bott was trying to go through a couple. However, Corey Williams eats up the ground behind him and says no. There's Arman. Day. Arman trying to come back into Day. Day trying to go around the outside. Ed Day feeding away to Arman. Just need to settle it. There's a good check away. That is ball down, and that for me sums up the Sharks line attack so far.
They panicked.
Always operating at the extremes, never really having that cool, calm and collected coordinator to give them a platform.
You just need to give Day the set to run quickies, because he's going to find the play eventually. And that was just overcomplicated. I don't think Bott knew where to stand.
Yeah. Here is Ainscough, and you know what that means. Here comes Evans. Back to Ainscough. Back really to Evans. Good. Wonderful generation of momentum. There's Hardiman. Goes through a couple. Oh, it's wonderful from Hardiman. Finds Annie Ainscough, and that is the icing on the cake. Annie Ainscough gets the score she deserves. Really sort of the linchpin in that pod. Giving those 3 boys a good platform and brilliant hands to rely on. Annie Ainscough takes the Saxons into double digits.
How often do you see that, Joe, where the female link runs that support line to catch the ball from the scooper and score? You don't see it often. It's commitment, it's pace. It's
and it's the athleticism of Annie Ainscough to keep up with the play. More importantly, shake the covering defender, because she was marked just a few seconds beforehand. And with around a minute left to go, pill. Absolute pill from Franco Perticaro. Over to Hannah Jaferas, and She has a few now.
He's
However,
been so good.
Yeah, Franco's been a wonderful player all throughout this national competition, but the hooter is going to go any second now, and barring something miraculous, and I don't just mean miraculous as in, oh, well, it would have to take some really good play, as in some changing of the laws of time, this will be Southwest Saxons' victory, and I've got a feeling that this Saxons bench is going to absolutely erupt when the hooter goes. Corey Williams, though, wants to put the icing on the cake. There's a lovely long ball stepping in between a few, but it's a good covering touch, and there is the final whistle, and there is full time, and the Southwest Saxons fully deserve the win in the mixed open division, beating the South East Sharks 10 tries to 6 in the end. Ben, the damage was done in the first half. The Sharks improved in the second, but they gave themselves a mountain to climb.
Yeah, I think a complete performance by the Saxons. They couldn't have drew it up any better. They executed in every part of the pitch. They executed on line D, they executed in midfield, they executed on line attack. Thoroughly impressive all across the board.
And the Southwest Saxons really starting to put performances together that shake up divisions, that break up the Southeast touch dominance. Speaking of, Southwest Saxons versus Southeast Sharks in the men's open final. Can the Saxons break the spirits of the Sharks once more? The men's open will be looking to follow in the footsteps of the mixed, and that'll be with you in around 9 minutes' time.
Great. I'm here with Chris from Southwest Saxons, champions of the Mixed Open. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very excited. We have worked very hard to get this win. We've had a few years where it's not quite come off for us. A few things haven't gone our way, but absolutely unbelievable shift. We won in the semi-final against the team that we lost to in the groups, and then pulled off against a really, really good Sharks team there. So very, very happy with that.
And double digits in the final, that's not bad going.
Well, yeah, we've got a team with a lot of talent. A lot of good people, but even better talent. So it's definitely on display. It's good.
And how proud are you of this team?
Yeah, unbelievably. Unfortunately knocked out with injury for myself early on in the tournament. So to see the team grow and come back from setbacks, overcome challenges and get closer as a team, they've been unbelievable and I couldn't be prouder.
How good is it for the scene that touch rugby is growing in the UK? There's so many more options, more people are joining clubs and wanting to play at this elite level. Yeah, for sure. And the Southwest region in particular is growing year on year. The university game's growing, more and more teams playing there. Lots of good junior youth talent coming through. It's unbelievable to see. I need to give a shout out to Lexi, who's our coach as well. She couldn't make it today. She's having an ankle reconstructed, but I know how proud she'll be of having grown this team from what it was 3 or 4 years ago to what it is now. So yeah, unbelievably proud. Yeah, amazing. Well, I'll let you go and celebrate with your team. Congratulations.
Cheers, thank you.